Viewers, good day, wherever in the world you are. And it's a privilege to welcome you to the first episode of Grooming the Groomers.
Grooming the Groomers.
Episode today, we are going to talk about a very interesting personality. He is controversial. He is interfering. He is egoist. He is a compulsive liar. He believes in patriarchy. He is highly vocal. He believes in white supremacy. He believes in patriarchy. Nonetheless, he is also a nationalist. He is a personality who has been in controversy since he assumed power. He wears many hats on his head. He has been a real estate developer. He has been an entrepreneur. He has also been a live show presenter. He did his bachelor's in economy from University of Pennsylvania. I'm sure you have been able to guess the personality I'm going to talk about today. Yes, no prizes for guessing. The sitting president of the United States of America, Donald Trump. Donald Trump is the 45th president of America.
Grooming the Groomers.
Now, when we analyze a personality in Grooming the Groomers, we will be looking at both the sides of his personality, the black and the white, and leave the grey portion to be decided by the viewers. No person in the world is perfect, but if you have 50% black and 50% white, one can be optimistic that probably the blacker side, part of it, 20% or 30%, would move towards the white part, and one can be optimistic. But if it goes the other way around, that it is a 80-20 ratio, then it is certainly going to be on the darker side. So much so, when we analyze him, of course there are some good points and bad points, but just to give you a little fact about it, in the first term of his presidency, in the year of 2015, 17 and 2019, the PolitiFacts has awarded him, should I say, rewarded him with the lie of the year.
Grooming the Groomers.
Donald Trump has definitely done a few good things. To be clear, he has done mostly bad ones. I mean, if I were to give you a figure, the figure stands at 20,000 lies that he has blatantly and brazenly spoken in the Senate, to the press people, and to different forums. He is more personality corrupt than Chester A. Arthur, more surrounded by criminals than Ulysses S. Grant, and more shamelessly duplicitous than Richard Nixon. I believe the only reason United States of America people of United States of America have not seen a national catastrophe costing tens and thousands of lives is due to his sheer luck and the incredible incompetence that wafts from the White House like the lingering odor of reheated Big Macs. But it's a point of faith with me that you should always be able to name 5 things that you do like about a president you don't like. Just 5 things that you like about a president you don't like. Yet, he has done some good things. Believe you me, it was very difficult for me to choose those 5 good things that he has done during his first term as president. But it was much easy for me to find out just 10 out of hundreds and thousands of bad things that he has done for the nation. To be fair to him, let's start with the good things that he has done. 5 good things, though not in order. President Trump, one of the credits that he definitely and certainly should receive and has received is in the form of the reforms that he has done for the prisons, the prison reforms. It seems like a joke that a president under so many criminal investigations would be for prison reforms and the betterment of the incarcerated. But he is. Trump has actually moved the needle quite a bit regarding the terrible prison system of US. This particular reform is often referred to as First Step Act. It may be a nudge in the right direction, but it is undeniably a movement. Now, what are the initiatives in this prison reform? First step: expansion of earned time credits. More chances for prisoners to slowly transition from prison to society through halfway homes to be able to amalgamate into the society. Then there are also time off sentences for vocational achievements. If you do some vocational achievement, you will get a time off in your sentence. And better approach to mandatory sentencing that retroactively reduce drug sentences of ridiculous length. You know, drug has been a big menace in the United States. Probably the biggest menace. And the government spends a lot of money in ensuring that counterfeits do not come from, most of it comes from the South America, come from there. Well, that is definitely a credit. Then the second good thing, Donald Trump introduced the gun control. If you remember, in Barack Obama's time, the gun control was also introduced, and he was very clear that the guns should be confiscated. And with NRA saying that the confiscation policy of Barack Obama was right around the corner, it resulted in increasing gun sales to an all-time high. And you know the kind of menace it is that unscrupulous people who get hold on guns have created havoc in schools, in malls and public places, killing hundreds and thousands of people. It's somewhat ironic that Trump has embraced gun control in small ways. That 2017 Las Vegas massacre nobody can forget, which remains the deadliest mass shooting in the history so far. The best thing is that he did eliminate one of the tools of mayhem with just a single stroke of pen.
Grooming the Groomers.
The third thing that strikes me is that out of the many campaign promises that Donald Trump made, he actually lived to one of it, that he would donate his presidential salary. And every year he has done exactly that. He has gifted his entire paycheck various institutions since assuming office, National Park Service, US Education Department, Transportation Department, Department of Health and Human Service, most importantly, Department of Veterans Affairs. Those servicemen who retire or are physically incapacitated in the warfare. Yes. And one of the most heart-touching and heartwarming donation that he made is to the National Institute on Alcohol Abuse and Alcoholism, which of course he did in the memory of his brother, Fred, who was his older brother, who was struggling rather fatally with the issues with booze, alcohol. And if Trump continues the practice, his donation amount will actually surpass Obama donating his Nobel Prize money by 2021. You will recall that Obama was given the Nobel Prize and he donated the entire amount to the public cause. So yes, that definitely is a interesting and heart-touching contribution of President Trump.
Grooming the Groomers.
The next one is union representation. The America three biggest countries are United States, Mexico, and Canada. In 1992, a trade deal was struck between the three, which was called NAFTA, the North America Free Trade Agreement. And these three countries were the members of it. It was virtually a free trade agreement between the three nations. Subsequently, the same NAFTA was converted into USMCA, United States, Mexico, Canada Agreement. Now, this trade deal his administration made with Mexico and Canada came with the caveat that Mexico would overhaul its labor laws, which they did. And part of the new set of laws that just passed gave workers the right to collective bargaining. Previously, NAFTA helped keep unionization out of Mexico as US companies sought cheap labor there. The New Deal USMCA seeks to de-incentivize moving jobs beyond the southern border by improving the lot of Mexican workers. Definitely a very welcome move made by Donald Trump.
Grooming the Groomers.
We come to the next good thing rather. Well, it is admittedly a proposal rather than a done deal right now, but I feel it is worth mentioning. 80s, there was this problem of HIV/AIDS across the world. America was also touched with it. It was not untouched. A bold new plan regarding HIV/AIDS in America was set forth by Trump. The thing many analysts find interesting about the proposal is how seriously it takes the poverty aspect of the disease presence in America. Those who are rich can probably afford the ARVs, but the problem is with the poor people and rural people. And they have set a goal for themselves that in the next 10 years, 90% reduction, as well as get people on drugs that stabilize the disease in order to improve their quality of life. They may not be able to be cured, but their lives can be stabilized and they can enjoy the good quality of their life. And mind you, particular focus is placed on the rural areas, as I mentioned, that the rich and the upper class section would be able to afford the ARVs, but the rural areas and the poor people probably may not be.
Grooming the Groomers.
Let me tell you, none of these examples of good things that Donald Trump has done are meant to excuse him of the many terrible things done in the entire Trump era presidency. You see Black Lives Matter, you see police brutalities, things like that. So he's certainly waging a war against marginalized people. He's placing grifters in power. He fans white nationalism, and he makes an attempt to enrich himself through his position. Certainly, most of the analysts and people believe he is not a good president. But as the saying goes, even a blind squirrel finds a nut occasionally. So is the case with Donald Trump. There has never been such a serial liar in the Oval Office. Well, it's said by a presidential historian, Douglas Brinkley. And he goes on to say, Trump lies as a policy.
Grooming the Groomers.
I have picked up 10 of his bad moves in his presidency. He ridiculously claimed that United States is full, but they are not full by a long shot. They have well over 1 million more job openings than unemployed workers. You understand the economics. They have 1 million more job openings than unemployed workers to fill them. If Trump wants to keep this strong economy going, he has no option, but he needs more workers. And that means, since there are no workers remaining within the United States of America, he will have and he will need more immigrants.
Grooming the Groomers.
Now, coming on to the second point, he used anti-Semitic troops to attack his enemies. Trump was obviously right to call out Omar from Minnesota and Taliban from Michigan for their anti-Semitism. But then Trump declared that any Jewish people that vote for Democrats show great disloyalty, using the very same anti-Semitic troop that got Omar and Tayab in trouble in the first place.
Grooming the Groomers.
Number 3, he said Soviet Union was right to invade Afghanistan. And second part is he congratulated China on the 70th anniversary of communist takeover. The USSR did not invade Afghanistan because terrorists were going into Russia, and they were no right to be there, as Trump claimed. They went in to prevent the replacement of a Soviet puppet regime with a regime friendly to the United States. That is the background of the invasion of Afghanistan by Soviet Union. And as for China, more than 65 million of the roughly 100 million people killed by communist regimes, including, should I say, China and Russia and all the erstwhile United States, USSR during the 20th century, they are killed by China. It is the most murderous regime in human history. Was it right on his part to congratulate China on the anniversary of the communist takeover? I don't think so.
Grooming the Groomers.
Coming on to the next one. If you remember in 2018, he needlessly lost a government shutdown fight. The Senate Appropriations Committee approved $1.6 billion for a 65-mile stretch of border fencing. Instead of taking the deal, Trump shut down the government and demanded $5.7 billion. I mean, the shutdown was almost for 1 month plus. And what happened? He ended up with less. He ended up with $1.38 billion. After losing the shutdown fight, Trump used the National Emergencies Act to appropriate funds for the policy priority after Congress specifically refused to do so legislatively. Not only was this an abuse of power, it also was completely unnecessary. He could have reprogrammed money from other Treasury and Defense Department accounts and avoided invoking his emergency powers. Instead, he chose a direct assault on Congress' constitutional power, and Republicans shamelessly went along with him. What a shame.
Grooming the Groomers.
The next one, he has continued to spread the canard that United States is fighting endless wars. You remember the situation going on in Syria, Iraq, Afghanistan, and areas like that. Turkey, Kurdistan. The force level in Syria, Iraq and Afghanistan are a shadow of their former slaves, and US forces are arming and training allies who are doing the fighting for them. That is the right strategy. Yet Trump continues to channel his inner Barack Obama and seek complete US withdrawal. Look at the irony.
Grooming the Groomers.
He continued to attack dead people is the next point that I'm going to make, which is very unfortunate. Just as Trump blasted former Senator John McCain long after his death, now he has launched a broadside against the late Representative John Dingell that suggested he was looking up from the hill, an attack that shocked his wife.
Grooming the Groomers.
Then the next one is, you remember the issue of the interference of Russia in the 2016 polls. He asked the president of Ukraine to investigate Hunter Biden. His phone call with President Zelensky was not perfect as Trump claimed. After Special Counsel Robert S. Mueller, III, found that Trump did not conspire with Russia in 2016, Trump decided to snatch defeat from the jaws of victory by giving Democrats the pretext they had been looking for to impeach him. Fortunately for him, didn't happen.
Grooming the Groomers.
The next one, very embarrassing moment for Donald Trump was when he invited the Taliban to Camp David. The terrorist group's leaders would have sat at the very table where US officials planned the overthrow of their regime, I mean the regime of the Taliban, to accept the terms of America's surrender on the eve of the 18th anniversary of September 11 attack, which was facilitated by the Taliban. The invitation was possibly the most shameful moment of Trump's presidency.
Grooming the Groomers.
Now, coming on to the other point, you will remember the Turkey, Syria, Kurds, the issue going on there. The president of Turkey, Erdogan, is probably aiming to be the next Khalifa of the Muslim world. He gave Turkey a green light to invade Syria and attack their Kurdish allies. Now, Kurdish were allied to the United States. And the poor Kurds suffered 11,000 casualties in the fight against the Islamic State since 2014 and gave US the critical intelligence that led to the Islamic State leader Abu Bakr al-Baghdadi doorstep. After watching Trump abandon the Kurds to be slaughtered, imagine why would anyone step forward to help the United States in the fight against Islamic radicalization? Again, a misjudgment and a wrong judgment by President Trump to allow Turkish forces to attack Kurds resulted in an embarrassment.
Grooming the Groomers.
Probably the good still overweighs the bad in the Trump presidency, but the problem here is that those which were bad are now slowly getting worse. Now, I would like to leave the thought process with you to see whether it was black or white or grey, whether the goods overweigh the bad or the bad overweighs the good and the bad is becoming worse. Thank you very much for being with us. Thank you very much for giving me your time. I would leave it to you to understand, examine, ponder over it, and we'll really appreciate if you'll share your thought process in the comment section or through the mail which are in the comments below. Please do not forget to subscribe and press the bell icon for any update. I will try my level best to bring in at least one episode every week with a different personality, with a different groomer who we believe definitely needs a little bit of grooming. Thank you very much. Have a nice day, and if you are going off to your bed, good night. Thank you.
Grooming the Groomers.